Alright guys, if you are watching this after the fact, just skip forward about 10-15 seconds and we'll be right there. Alright, and that should do it. Here we go. Got a special today. It's going to be a 2-for-1 Blodir versus Bath. Best repronounce that. Blodir versus Blast Chilled. It's the Finland versus the UK, respectively. These guys are both top-tier players, and both of them played twice today, Sunday the 9th of October 2022. The first game's going to go down on the map gen, and we're going to hop in right now, and let's get it started. And here we go, let's roll the tape. Blast Chilled down here. Representing the UK in red, playing as Aeon, going first land, and he cries out Setons. And if you look at the map gen, it's not too far off. The colour's a bit off, perhaps the central causeway's a little wider, but yeah, it's got that Setons feel about it, mirrored in the opposite way. His opponent, Blodir from Finland, is going UEF, also first land. Try get these sounds about right. Blodir rated just shy of 2,300 rating points. Blast Chilled 2079. Incidentally, I was looking up, it'd been a little while since Blodir had played 1v1 ladders, so even though he is the stronger player, and by quite some, he may be a little out of practice, so we'll have to see how that impacts on things. And holding shift, well, it's certainly not impacted on his micro. He's got a whole bunch of manual reclaim on that entry, certainly remembering that that is quicker than the reclaim patrol. His opponent down here, Blast Chill, doing exactly the same thing. Ecos wise, looks like 4. How many more? Blodir. Looks like a few more before he's going to go air. Blast Chilled, what's he doing? He's doing the same again. So far, both these guys basically doing exactly the same thing. Except Blast Chilled got a little raiding party out. Blodir electing not to. It is a 20x20 map, so the same size as Setons. Maybe that's why Blodir feels it is not worth putting in a scouting party on this occasion. We'll have to see if this is going to be used aggressively or by Blast Chill just as a defensive measure. It may be 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, initially defense, and if it doesn't see anything, keep moving on. Blodir here getting a little aggressive with his engineer on the reclaim. That's a little bit greedy. That's quite a lot of micro in there for something that may not even live to see the day. We'll have to see if Blast Chilled can pick it up, and you can see here his plan is to roll right on by, and I'm going to reckon even if that engineer does make it across here, that Snoop is going to pick it up. Blodir running out with a transport now. Let's have a little look with 3 engineers aboard, also with some air cover. Might want to... Oh, is he going to see this is the question. Who's going to see who? Well, if Blast is paying attention, and he is, look at that, he moves straight in. This could be an horrific result for Blodir's first drop. He's going to try and save some of them, and that's a good save, managing to get 2 of them away. And he's, look at that, immediately moving on. Now this engineer gets quite a lot of the reclaim. Let's have a look at these chunks, incidentally. They're about 20, 30 mass each. Some of the smaller ones 10. And look at that smart move. Pulling away, recognizing the threat. And that's just the difference between the 20,000s and adding a couple of 100 points on. Very quick reactions, and the reactions are not just random. They are like very deliberate and purposeful. I mean, I would be able to do that if that's all I had to do, but of course he's managing everything else as well. Look at this. Blast chilled, as if he's got a crystal ball. Bear in mind it's a map gen. And Blodir not as quick this time to react. A day late and $1 short with that one. I really like Blodir's expansion techniques with the transports. Looks like Blast Chilled has thought, yeah, that's quite a good idea actually. I'll have a little go myself. And Blast Chilled, look, with just these couple of raiding parties, has been massively able to shut down Blodir's expansion, despite the fact Blodir had been running these transports earlier. Nice little pickup there from Blast Chilled, right on the other side of the map. I don't know how much that was luck as opposed to skill. And look at this. Is Blast Chilled going to manage to pick up another? Does he see it? Well, Blodir certainly sees it. He's moving back in to evac, and he manages to take all of them away with him. It looks like a lot of this aggression from Blast Chilled is, I was going to say coming at the expense of neglecting his expansion, but that's not the case at all. And the raiding is absolutely met. I mean, look at the difference here. Blast Chilled. Bearing in mind, guys, this guy is about over 200 points behind his opponent. And that just shows a couple of little raiders what a difference it can make. At least twice Blodir had to evac. He was picked off again. And looks like he's resorting to T1 bombers to finally shut down this attack. And looks like that's going to be successful. I mean, there's only so long you can dodge T1 bombers for if you're microing. And it comes at the expense of doing much else. I don't think this... I don't know if he's forgotten about it. It looks like that bomber's just on a lazy patrol. If that can stay out of range. Meanwhile, on the other end of the map. Yeah, we got here these nice attack moves. Quick clicks to make. More APM intensive to deal with. We've got another one doing exactly the same down here. Attack move with a patrol order. Looks like this lab here hanging just outside this bomber's patrol, but looks like he may have picked him up regardless. Yeah, he's coming back. That's going to be the end of the raiding for Blast Chilled. It's now Blodir's turn with the T1. And there we go, picking up both the NG and what it was building and the T1 radar in one shot. We've got Naval Yard coming out here. Now, this would be something that Blodir would like to pick up if he knew about it. Looks like, it was on the bomber's radars. I'm kind of surprised on a patrol it didn't go for it. So here we got the T1. It is called a Thistle in this case. I like to call every T1 A8 AAA unit a Thistle when it's mobile, but in that case it really was a Thistle. I'm not like a guy that can remember every unit. And I haven't done a cast for a little while with respect to Forged Alliance, just fancied giving it another crack. I used to play this game so much, man, like, I don't know how long, well, whenever it came out, I was there in the early days and loved every minute of it. Got a nice little attack here. A couple of T2 gunships already on the 8th minute on the other side of a 20x20. So Blodir not hanging around. Take a look at the ecos. Blast Chilled currently pulling in. Oh, he's just jumped to 1.4k. Blodir at 740. So it looks like that's a T2 P-gen that just went on. Here it is. So these two T2 gunships are going to be able to get some stuff done. He's got a lot of air cover with it as well. The question is, There's so much mass dotted around. Is it going to be enough to offset the impact of Russian gunships like he has done? That's the question. It's either going to shut him down and really badly hurt him, or trying to put these out. You can see the impact it's made on his energy. He's over 2-1 behind now because of this rush. He needs to make this pay. Did manage to get the naval yard out, and we've got a single T1 frigate. He needs to get on top of the air situation, does Blast Shield, if he's got any chance of staying in. Just turn that down. And that was the first situation picked up. We've got AAA units down here. So the threat remains here and here, and he's moving right in to intercept. More gunships on the way down. Question is now he's going to run out of interceptors pretty soon to provide in the cover. We've got some fresh units here. Yes, he is outnumbered, but for how long? He certainly can't keep up. He's currently on a 3-1 deficit for power, and as we know, he needs power for air. Now we've got a sort of secondary attack, if you like, with T1 land units. This is good because all of this is now air. If he... I don't know, does he know is the question. Does he know? Let's have a little look. He does not. So there could be anything there, but if he... Clearly if he had gods, you'd move those right in. Not a single unit to oppose them. The gunship's still doing good. He's... Blast Shield has got roaming units of thistles now, roaming bands of thistles if you like. This is going to help shut down the predicament. Still got a couple of gunships out on patrol, but they're getting picked off. This is not going to last much longer. And again, Blast Shield, this is real important, guys, for those of you maybe not so new. Put land factories down where there's mass points. Not only does it let you get engineers out to rebuild stuff quicker, it lets you put out, you know, land units to defend. It's a lot harder to kill a factory than it is a T1 mechs, and you can use them for a variety of things, not least to absorb impact, you know, hit points, right? They can absorb hit points. So there's at least 3 reasons to build these, and you'll see both players doing this. You can see everywhere where there's a clump of mechs, they put factories down, even at the back. Now you can see these thistles starting to do the Lord's work when it comes to Blast Shield's point of view. His air is starting to pick up. This is it now. The balance of power with regards to air is going to shift in favour of the player who's got the power. That said, where are we? Energy income. Blodir has caught right up. I'm going to guess now that's because Blast Shield took power expansion on the back foot once that attack got underway and started going air big time. So it's a little bit of swings and roundabouts there, a bit of a seesaw action. One went to rush air, one went to rush power, then the other went to counter the air, and the other one was able to catch up on power. And it looks like they're left exactly even. Look at this, guys. They're like 2 mass apart, 100 power apart. Blast Shield is slightly ahead on total mass. What we got here, let's put this onto the mass in killed. Yeah, and you can see both players over 4,000 mass killed from their opponents. That's going to edge towards 5 once this little battle is done. And again, nice little move. Blast Shield went heavy AAA, left his units exposed. Now we're going to see the advantage of putting factories down near mass points. Got a small band of T1 attack here, just tanks. And now he's going to start putting Auroras down. Now these Auroras are going to benefit from the cover of the factory. See this here? This Aurora is going to get 3 shots off on the tank while the factory is providing cover. There goes the next one. Is he going to hang on to the factory? It's going to be very close. Oh my goodness. 72 hit points on a factory. At least it proves my point. And don't embarrass me. Meanwhile, Blast Shield doing some drops on the north side. Looks like those 2 Auroras are going off for nothing. We've got a couple of NGs here. Question is, does Blodir be aware of them? Not yet. That's going to change as soon as he gets a dish down or throws a scout over the top. Question is, Blast Shield forgot about them. If he don't get those doing something soon, it's going to be a waste of 4 engineers. And what's more important, the APM that got them over there at this stage. Now we got T1 frigates. Looks like this early naval yard from Blast has long since gone. And we've got here a solitary naval yard from Blodir. Once again, we've got another gunship over here. This one with 2 kills. That may have even been the one that picked off the naval yard. But yeah, oh no, they're finally starting to move. And if he's paying attention now, he's got his dish up. They're being picked up. Where's the dish that initially picked them up? Oh, it was here. We got a T2 radar system. Now, it looks like he's sending to... Oh, they're maybe just on a regular attack move. I thought he might have sent them just to take a peek at what was going on. But this here is going to be the big clue. And now that... And there we go. If he didn't know about it before, he knows about it now. We've got some T2 units rolling up here from Blast. Perfect counter to some naval yards here. Blodir sending in more T2 gunships. It's not going to be enough to save him, but he's also got a whole group of ASF. He has got about almost 10 ASF there, together with some T1. So Blast... what do we got here? Gunship v gunship. So looks like we got some air action over here with a little bit of navy. Nothing too consequential as of yet. We've got first gunship coming over from Blast. I suspect her because different race, right? But here we go with the arty spam. And now that rigged up with a couple of T2 blazes. If he can hang on to this, even for a little bit, he needs to get some air in though, because air is his weak spot here. The gunships are coming over. And yeah, they're moving right over to the threat. Got some T1 PD. Creeping RT is a very quick, lazy way to get rid of PD on the attack move order, which is what he's got. These roaming bands of gunships, together with the ASF, is potentially going to be the undoing of Blast Shield. We've just seen for the first time the players swapping spots there for the high score. Blodir just taking over now at 80,000 overall. Mass killed now for Blodir is 11,000 versus 8.4. That's in large part going to be down to these gunships knocking out T2 units and their mass cost. And these factories as well, that's going to be the end of that little assault. Again, more of a tank in APM versus any actual damage done. By the time he gets a reclaim on this, any lost income from these mechs is going to be made up from that reclaim. So eco-wise, it's a nothing. Nice little run by with a couple of gunships here. If he's going to pick off a couple of T2 mechs here, that will be worth it. 4 hit points left. There we go. Last Chill slightly ahead on 22,000 overall still. And once again swapping places. 95 versus 92. No doubt in part down to what's been going on here. You know, taking out a T2 mechs yields quite a lot in terms of both mass killed and score. Here we go, some Titans rolling down the hill now from Blodir. And they're up against T3 equivalent from Blast. There's Aeon. Only problem is they were outnumbered and he was all out of sync with his shields there. Harp succumbs. We do got a couple of units. I wonder if these guys were dropped in. Could have also run by. I didn't happen to see it. Not seen a transport on the way out, but it could have been shot down. We're starting to see a bunch of ASF on the field from Blast Chilled as well now. Gotta say, just feel like after the initial run-by with the labs, Blodir doing a lot better on the run-bys and the attacks, just causing generally more headaches overall. But still a fairly static game here, almost coming up to the 19th minute. I guess we really were coming up to the 19th minute. We weren't almost coming up to it. We were coming up to it. Got a nice little T1 Navy here back and forth. This guy, by the way, serves two functions. First off, it prevents blast from plonking a naval yard down here, but more importantly, they serve as basically cheap little scouts that have got virtually infinite fuel, if not infinite, because it's Navy. And it's going to see anything that comes over this way. It'd be nice to see him extend it out a little bit. Again, it's not really worth anything in terms of damage. It's just that little bit of intel. I like that move. Same again over here. And clearly he's got visual in the center with these units. Now, they ain't going to stop anything flanking right around the side, but no doubt he's got a radar if anything does try to come this way. Got T1 radar system here. Got another one here. Got another one here. Yeah, so he's layered it good and proper. He don't want to just go blind because of having one dish that gets taken out. A lot of players do that. Just put one dish up and then it's gone and that's it. It's all over. Got Titans looking like they're threatening. Blast Shield's still ahead overall, but mass numbers really tight. Both players within about 10 mass income of one another. Kill loss is, again, 19 to 21,000. So really neck and neck overall. 27 reclaimed. It's 143 to 140 score. Couldn't really get much closer than this. Let's have a little look what they're working on in base. Well, the usual. Starting to work on the air grid from Blodir's side. Blast Shield, well, starting to work on his. Blast actually doing a good job here on completely cannibalizing the old crap. Blodir electing at least for now to hang on to his. I do like to have a few T1 P-Gen dotted about. Just because, you know, how many games does it come to and it's neck and neck and it's like, oh, all the power that you've got left is the ACU and the other guy's maybe got 100 power left because he had a couple of P-Gens somewhere out the way and then that enabled the one guy to rebuild, not the other. I mean, alright, it doesn't happen every day, but we've seen these games. Now, this is a much better formation with the shields. Numbers-wise, Blodir's got it, but with the shields, Blast is going to be able to tank a bit of damage that he can replenish with his shield. Granted, some of these, you know, the Titans have got shields as well, but, you know, you can see there the damage has been dealt. And now we're starting to see the T2 cruisers. Right, you let these build up, that's it. That's going to prevent any forward base here. It's going to eat right back to around, well, the coastline as well. You can take this out, certainly this, the forward line. And if you park them in here, could potentially even reach certainly here and the main base. If he don't get a lid on these cruiser situation, I reckon that could spell the end. Granted, Aeon has got decent TMD, but they only work for so many missiles when they're coming in, not all together. Granted, if everyone came at once, they'd be able to deal with it, but that's not how it is. And there's already the second one. You can guarantee it's cruisers all day from here on in. He's got no other reason to go otherwise. Blast needs to think what he's going to do now. We've got a whole bunch of supports faction. Well, we got T3 support here. No, oh, it's the AQ. What am I talking about? The support. Blast Shield getting T3 on his ACU. ASF building up. I'd like to see him just knock these out just so he can make use of these P-Gen. He's already cancelled his T3. To me, when players start making moves and mistakes, I say mistake, it is a mistake, right? It suggests to me that they're getting task saturated big time. The pressure's on. It's stressful. Get that bit of adrenaline. You start clicking and misclicking and not thinking as clearly as you were early on when it was nice and simple and you just had that one engineer that you could click on all the different rocks. Those times are long gone. Blastchild recognises, I think, that this navy's going to be a problem, and so he's got to push. Make use of this. I'd like to see him start moving this secondary force up, because there's no point going in half-hearted on a move like this. This has got to work. This navy is going to start causing problems. He does got shield, the Absolver, which just eats through the shield HP. It's insane. Remember when I took a huge rate and came back, this was the new unit when I came back, and it was like, holy moly. My old school way of shielding and putting Ravagers down, the PD creep, it's over. Yeah, now look at this. Alright, okay, he's doing the left-right. He's throwing his shields forwards, trying to save his more expensive halves, but it's only going to work for so long because he's vastly outnumbered. He's got a couple more shield units here, that's going to absorb some, but he's literally throwing them away to try and save his halves. Look at this little reverse of fortune here. And here's the 1-2 punch, and this may knock a front door or a hole through Blodir's front door, but now you see the problem here with the cruisers. They're able to pick off what was relatively safe sites. We've got T2 mexes. He's even rebuilding as the missiles are coming in. I'm not sure if that's an automated script or he's just not realised what the situation is. And yeah, it looks like he didn't realise until he sent this in. Now he's aware of it. Perfect counter to the cruiser, by the way. T2 hover tank. Both guys bringing their air in, and it looks like we're about to get an engage over the top of this. It'd be nice to see T3 mobile Sam here, and now we got sniper. We do got a T2 flat, and you can see that is racking up kills. 5 already. And if those ASF keep doing the tight little turns over the top of that flak unit, it's going to basically pack a bunch of damage, even though it's not necessarily going to kill them. We do got the T3 SAM unit here. We've got more flaks, more snipers. This right now is Blastchild's best hope, because this navy, I'm almost starting to wonder if it's too late to do much about it. You can see here TMD going up, but the weakness of it, despite being able to deal with huge amounts in one go, it's the continuation of it that they're going to struggle with. And you can see starting to get through. This T3 fact is all but over. You need to keep spamming them TMDs down. And yeah, nice little counter here. The problem is what we got here. Just felt like they were shooting like a destroyer. Is that a new function, or have they always been like that? I don't recall them being able to shoot like direct fire, but just be that wasn't paying attention. Meanwhile, Blastchild rolling into Blodir's main base here. Problem is, there's so much construction power here, so much air. If I was him, I'd try and take this T3 out. Oh, he's going for the nuke defense. Nice call. Is he now? Oh, there we go. We get the switch over. This is going to be huge right now. He's just taken out 2 P-gens. If he's able to get that one, well, that's just been a huge reversal of fortune. Watch what happens now to Blodir's power once that goes. And he's big time in the red. And you see what I'm talking about? Consuming those T1 P-gens. Look at this now. He's 20 plus. As Guile would say, curse the commentator, he control Ks after that. Just a small unit going into the base. I had no idea that was going to finish it off. Well, that right there proves the point. Don't put all your eggs in a T3 P-gen basket. The minute you get a T3 P-gen, cannibalising the rest. There's so much mass dotted around. I know I'm sort of preaching to the top level here, but in my opinion, there was no need to cannibalise it. And that just demonstrates it. You know, at that point, there is no chance of getting back in the game. You're redlined, you've got 0 in the bank, and the only income is plus 20 from the ACU. It ain't happening. It's all over at that point, no matter what. And it's such a shame because until that moment, he really did have it out there. All right, let's take a look now onto the second game. Round 2 coming up. Should somewhat try and be professional and mute my game sounds while I get it there for you guys, shouldn't I? Okay, so this one is also taking place today on the old school. I was going to say Desura's Sanctuary, but I think it's the other way around. I think it's DeRosa's Sanctuary. There we go. All right, let's come back in. Ta-da! A little quicker, come on. There we go. Over in top left, we've got Blodir. Like before, he's going UEF this time. And down in lower right, Blast Chilled once again. Also going UEF this time. Last time we had Aeon. Well, actually, top guy was UEF. We had Aeon versus UEF. This time it's UEF versus UEF. Also, my favourite faction comes from SupCom days when back then the only one who had a T3 gunship was the UEF. Of course, in FAF all of that changed, but until then it was the broadsword, and that was the only reason why UEF. I liked the broadsword. It was at least my noobish idea, but after that, I was one of those that was like 90% UEF, 9% Sera, 1% Cyb. I like the stealth on the Cybrans, the strats. I like the Corsairs as well. Back before the other races had a bit of a buff on the T2. T2 fighter bomber by UEF was terrible before they made it, put the changes in from the last year or two. Of course, this map, for those people, it's one of the old school ones, there is so much mass dotted around. You can just have 1 or 2 NGs going around on reclaim, and you don't go build mass, you just go power all day for the while, and looks like, I mean, once you know that, you know it, there's no other way to play it. And you get as many NGs assisting your ACU. The only difficulty here is building in such a way that A, you don't got to move, and B, your building doesn't get in the way of the NGs where they prevent you building, because of course that costs time, and in a game that expands exponentially you don't want to be wasting any time, because 1 second early on is worth like 2 minutes later on in the game, and so early on really does matter. That's why these expanding engineers, if you can kill off one of the early engineers, say it's like 2 or 3 minutes into the game, and there's an NG coming along here, and you send a bomber and kill it off, that NG is worth like 3 or 4 NGs in the main base. Just because of the time it took to get there and the fact of what it could do. So it's, you know, in an exponential game, you've got to think like that. Everything isn't worth the same. Like an NG isn't worth an NG, is what I'm trying to say. It depends on where it is and what time the game is in. You can see here, Blodir at 3 minutes in still hasn't built his first mechs. In fact, he just finishes it. I'm going to say it's 3 minutes and 1 second when he finishes it. Otherwise, I just wasted my breath there. Meanwhile, Blast Chilled slightly ahead on that front, but only just because, again, so much mass laying around. You see he's got 1 NG on the case here. He's got another one over here on the old factory attack move on this one on the regular patrol. I still love those factory attack moves, man. Into a forest and stuff like that. Of course, when you get a little bit and you have a battle and you've got a factory just behind it, and the other guy, and it's like a standoff, and you set your factory to attack move right on the edge of the battle and try and get all the reclaim without putting your NG in harm's way. All these little tricks that you pick up along the way that at this level is just a given, that if you're new to it, it's like, hey, how come your engineers reclaiming like that? I remember once back when I played, it was like, I mean, never that I was a top level or anything, you know, I was like, you know, in my prime I was like sort of 15, 1600 on the 1v1 ladder. And I remember going against this guy early on, And he was one of that, he hadn't upgraded any of his mechs. He'd rushed his T3 factory. He'd spat out 3 Tech 3 engineers, and he was building a nuke, a T3 RT, and he was building one, and I can't remember what the third unit was, but basically it was never going to happen. It would be like, if I left him alone for 3 hours, maybe one of them may finish. And then you felt real bad killing the dude, you know what I mean? It was, but what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're trying to play, and sometimes, you know, generally speaking, it matched you up really well, but every so often you got a game like that, and I mean, you realise it's not fun for you, but it's not fun for the other guy when it's you're rolling over a nub like that, and you just feel bad for it. It's like, look, this isn't your fault, mate. I can see it's like your first couple of goals, but you've got the worst opponent here that, it'd be like, I don't know, pick your analogy. Top football team going against a junior school. It's no fun for anyone. Blodir going heavy on the air here on the 5th minute. And looks like here with at least 2 or 3 T1 bombers, possibly 4. It's got a whole bunch of scouts. He's going to pick off expanding stuff. Question is, has he got these on patrol, or is he literally trying to identify and then quickly click on engineers? Of course, if you're doing that, makes it very difficult to concentrate on what's in base. He is power stalling pretty bad. Meanwhile, Blast Shield looks like he's got his eco under control, and that's reflecting here in the numbers. Score 11,000 apiece. See if Blast Shield manages to take this one as well, or if Blodir is starting to warm up after his absence and takes one back to bring it 1-1. Nice little pick up here, assuming he does pick it up. Oh my goodness, 6 hit points. He's going to get it with this one surely. There we go. I mean, it's just one, sometimes these small little things, I mean, usually don't have much impact, but every so often, depending on what it is, they change everything. Blast here securing the lower left, and looks like he's big time putting factories down. This was always one of these maps where if you tried to turtle and the other guy picked up on it, he could put a spam down and overrun you before you were able to get your higher tier units up to any number that could stop it. It looks like we've got more or less a mirror action here. Factories right across. Got a couple of units running by there from Blast, but again, not enough to cause any sort of damage. Got a couple of harassments here taking place. If he's able to move in and take out these engies, could be a little annoying, but again, Blodir wise to it, moves in. Yeah, 2 versus 3 ain't going to go, but there's a bunch more. That's going to shut that down. Looks like Blast is also taking care of, yeah, once again, players swapping place, happening every few seconds at the minute. Let's have a look there on mass kills. 2.2 versus 1.2 in favour of Blodir. So Blodir actually trading a lot better. I'm going to guess that was down to these bombers that were able to put the smackdown on a couple of units. Of course, you shoot them down, yes, it's still a kill, but in terms of mass, it's more the energy when it comes to air, at least at T1 stage. One of these isolated little run-bys, but it's not going to go anywhere. So at this stage now, when both of you are spamming T1, of course, it's going to come down to who gets to T2 first, who gets to T3 first, who changes tact first and drops the strat down right in the centre of this. And here we go. We've got a couple of T2s on the field now from Blast. A couple of just minor run-bys, but again, we're just talking irritation so far. That said, looks like Blodir is going very heavy on the spam now, so Blast Chill's got to be careful. He's going to be out-spammed by this. He has got the tech, but as we were just saying, it depends. Can he get enough tech on the ground to completely overpower T1 tech before, or rather, yeah, before the, see, Blodir's got to realise, well, both players have got to realise what's going on here. Blodir's got to realise the other guy's taking up, so he's got to push his advantage and push it now. The other guy's got to realise the other guy is spamming, and so I've either got to shift gears, throw down a bunch more factories and spam back, or really worry about all this pressure that's going to be coming down. I mean, unless you manage to get a GC out and park it over each end, there's, you know, doesn't matter what unit you've got up until that point, or a fatty in this case, T1 spam is going to win it. But it looks like here he's recognised the threat. He's managed to get a whole bunch of factories up there. As I always say, factories, you know, serving as a double use. Despite the inferior numbers, he can just roll them behind the factories and get free shots while the facts absorb the HP. Got a couple of T2 units rolling about, just keeping Blodir a little bit, preventing just an all-out assault. And here once again, a few T2 units. Question is that enough to override these T1s? Depends on the micro a little bit, I think. But at that point, I reckon, yes, he's got the numbers. You see here we got T1 PD. Blodir is starting to throw in some PDs in the choke points. That will pick up any sort of idly attacking units that are just driven on through. Again, nice little move here. And he's taken care of as well. Yeah, now we're going to start to see more of a tech mismatch, but it does seem like Blodir is starting to throw some pillars into the mix and all. Pillars, of course, very chunky, taking a lot of hit points, quite a few DPS as well. And with everything having a bit of give and take, their downfall is, of course, the range, not much more than a regular striker. Gatling bot is, of course, king of the range, but in terms of damage and health, or shielding if you like, is very low. I always like to do a pick and mix on UEF when I was T2. Put down one of everything and then a second Gatling bot, a second pillar. And that together, you know, you got your flak, you've got your shield, you've got your MML, you've got your hover tank, which was a pretty cool unit in any case. It was a little like the Aeon in that, you know, it could go side to side, didn't just have to turn around along like a regular tank for UEF. Here we got Blodir, Control Kane, a bunch of T1. That to me would suggest he's starting to run a little low on mass. It doesn't look like it though. If you'd do that to cannibalise the eco, I guess he thinks he doesn't need them anymore. I mean, I like to hang on to him, even if just to spam out T1 NGs. I guess he thinks, nah, this is moving on to a higher tech game. This ain't going to be over with T1 spam. And both players now realising this. I think Blast was at one point, you know, it looked a little dicey, was moving T2 and he didn't have the numbers. Blodir was going heavy on the spam, but, you know, that window's long since closed now. Taking a look though, Blodir do got about 60, possibly even 70% of the map. He's got control of the centre all across the ways, and he's starting to push down into Blast Chill's way. That is reflective now in the score, 72,000 versus 66. Take a look at mass totals as well there. He's got 10,000 extra netted overall. Income wise, it's neck and neck. Energy income wise, it's 5.1, 5.2 a piece. I mean, couldn't get much closer, guys. Problem here is clearly Blast Shield is more economically advanced, simply because if he's even Stevens across the ways but only got 30 or so % of the map, he's got higher tech in what he does have. Problem is that only works so long when the other players got more, you know. Mass is more efficient on the lower tech, so the more territory, the more mass points you've got, the efficiency is on your side. Even if you're behind overall, you're going to move ahead at some point. There's just no two ways about it. Blast Chill's going to recognise that, and he realises he's in the corner that he's got to fight out of. We've now got T3 coming down. Titans not seen any Percies yet from any of these guys. Expect to see that changing soon, because T3 bot much better against T1 and T2. Percy is good against T2, generally one shot, one kill. But the Titans, the king when it comes against T1. Anything else is just overkill. In fact, the Percy's worse against dealing with T1, you know, straight up. If it was, you could just pick one Titan or one Percy, I mean, anybody, generally speaking, would go for the Percy, except if you were dealing against just T1. Percy would get overrun and swarmed. Titan with its rate of fire. Here we got a nice first big engage of T3 versus T3. Still a bunch of T1 spam in the mix. Not very much T2 though. It's Tech 1 spam and T3. Both players deciding to back off a little bit. Blast bringing in reinforcements. He needs to lay down some arty onto these PDs, and he is doing. Meanwhile, what we got on the other side, well, looks like quite a bad tech mismatch here. We got almost exclusively T1 spam here. Don't know if Blast Shield is aware of that. Well, if he isn't, he's going to be momentarily when he gets his Air Force over. I think he already is, and he's deciding to push the advantage there. This could be the beginning. In fact, look at this. Blast Shield is pushing out all across the board. Blodir now pulling ahead more and more with the mass. I'm just wondering, is he going to be able to hold on to that advantage that came with the territory? Again, all of that advantage came in the last couple of minutes since they were neck and neck. But now that Blast is pushing his way out, granted there's not too many mass points here, but see, he's just picking away. If he can overrun this position and get some NGs reclaiming, that could tip the balance. I mean, this is just always good players do this. Whenever they roll in a battle, there's always engineers right on the case behind the battle, getting that reclaim right back into the coffers. It's to really like the, you know, if you really think about the concertina effect, as you advance, you're moving away from your factories. The other guy is compressing towards his. That gives him the upper hand if everything else is even. But as you move away, the battle extent that, you know, gets fought moves into his side. You got the reclaim, so it's, you know, there's pluses and minuses for everything that you do, and that's what I really like about this game. And I think that's why here we are. What is it? Must be coming on to 15 years. Everybody, I say everybody, thousands of people are still playing such an old game. I mean, are there any other games that's 15 years old that you still play? Probably not so many. Here we got Broadsword doing its thing, knocking out T2. Now we got a counter push here by Blodir. This time he's put some more T3 on the front, and we've got the first, well, at least I say the first Percy, the first one that I've seen. We've got another one here, full health. Both of them with a few kills, another one there. And at this point now, yeah, look at this, Blast Shield running away. I'm guessing because he's not got so many Percies and he's realising, right, I'm going to have to shift gears again. He's paused a bunch of stuff. Let's have a quick look at what he's doing here. He's, I wouldn't say stalling, but he's on the breadline when it comes to mass. The reclaim's gone. It's now a case of mass points and sucking up the battles, but this here is becoming a threat. Just picking off targets at that range. I'm wondering, is he moving in? What kind of, yeah, we do. We got the is this the shift G? I think here the move. Very effective way to get units, especially through a tight area like this. Not the best way to present a front, but if you're trying to get as many units through a place as quick as possible, there's no other way of doing it. This battle's still raging. Slow time down a little bit, because I think this one here is going to be key. Granted, Blodir had the upper hand with the Percies, but I don't think he had the numbers. Blast with the overwhelming number of Titans trying to get the factories down, trying to get hold of that reclaim, and there he is, he's already at it, sucking away. Blast Shield has got to follow up this attack. He can't give too much of this reclaim away, and he's got to press the advantage here. Because overall he's still on the back foot. We've got these roaming broadswords starting to pick up in numbers. He is now starting to push. I think we can afford to go back to regular speed now. And this is going to be a roll over. That's just crap, is that at this point. Useless spam at this point. If anything, it serves more help to the other guy with the reclaim. Air-wise though, I just get the feeling Blodir's got the upper hand because he's pushing it. Blast is recognising it's becoming an issue, starting to build up his ASF numbers. Actually, we got a mix of ASF and inties here and there. But if he don't get a lid on this situation soon, it could be his undoing. That's the case here, upgrading to T3 across the board, and here as well. And like before, air grid coming up from Blodir here on the 20th minute. Same from Blast Shield. And there's the first air engagement. Slow it down a little bit. We can see here that both players microing big time, trying to keep that circle going. And the micro there from Blodir instantly stopped. He realises he's got the upper hand. He switches from micro to attack move. He won that one. And there you go. That could be dangerous because of course he was the one with the broadswords. Granted he lost them, but he's won the air fight. I did manage to save one of them over here. Expect a response now from Blast Shield. There we go. P-Gen is getting an Omni up here. I'm surprised he hasn't yet planned up another air factory. He must realise now that this is going to be his undoing. Blodir's got a whole bunch of intel going as well. Is Blodir going to pull this one back? Well, I've got to say, so far it's looking promising. We've got 2 at 14 versus 181 on the score at this point. Mass Ecos 250 versus 200. Energy 10 versus 8. Mass killed 48 to Blodir versus 43. No matter where you look, Blodir's got the advantage at this point. And now we're starting to get Titan. The Percy's picking away at the entrance. This is a day late and a dollar short, this defence here. Like to see him if he's got the time to leave that shield there. He does. He's going to have to back it up though with a little more because these Percys are just going to pick away. Is he going to pick that one off? Target's redirected. Once again, Blast Shield making his misclicks there, starting upgrades and cancelling them a second or so later. Alright, he's moving in for the counter. Didn't manage to get the second one finished. And yeah, one of the... This is just, I really like this. When players just put like solitary units out the way of the main attack and they just pick stuff off like this, it's just, I don't know at what level this begins to creep in. It was sort of around where I was. It's very, very effective as doing this. You don't usually get too much damage done, although you can do if the other guy ignores it, but it is so APM intensive for the other guy. I mean, look at this, it's just a simple patrol and it's going to just pick off shit. It's not enough where the other guy redirects like an army, but it's just enough to cause damage. And look at that, 18 kills and he's still going. Got a counter punch here by Blodir on the right wing. We've got one coming down the left. Start to get the feeling that is getting numbered for Blast Shield here. His days are getting numbered, or his minutes. What's he doing back here? Getting the upgrades. Eco-wise, you know, is hanging on there. just wondering, I'd love to know right now, what's he thinking? He's got to be realising that he's behind. Alright, he's starting again with his TML. Could be a very effective use. I used to love going TML and Billy as well if I could. With the UFACU, you get it upgraded to T3, you can knock them out at any but like real fast, and you can move it around the map and just pick off a whole bunch. Of course, you've got to make sure it's defended, and here we go, we've got an attacky on the left side. I think this time Blodir's got the numbers. Blast Shield might have the better front. Is it enough? It's going to be quite close. Again, Blast does have the advantage with these frontline factories soaking up damage, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. We do got a nice bank of T2 PD here, that's certainly going to be helping. But at this stage, we got this much punching power. We've also got some intermingled T1 PDs. See, yeah, just get the feeling Blast Shield had like 5 more Percies early on. Not now, it's too late, but early on, 5 more. That could have made all the difference, and that could be the beginning of the end. This was another technique I saw players do a lot. They move the NGs out the way, and then once these, you know, swung round, picked up and moved on, they'd bring them back. Thing is now, Blast Shield's, what's he got? We got the tactical nuke. Okay, so he has got Billy. This could be very effective, especially against UEF. Not worse than firing a Billy or the TMLs up against Cyber and Titans, and or the equivalent of the Titans, the T3 bot Burnies, as Gal calls them, from to come straight back. That deflection stuff, ugh, so annoying. Well, that's not going to be the case here. I'm just wondering, does he got the eco to build them? He does. Is ACU T3? It's T2. He needs to be T3 so he can get them building a little quicker. Guess you can't do everything all at once, but I guess that's potentially what he's doing now. But yeah, here we see. Now look at this. Yeah, I'm just loving it. Problem is, as he picked up, oh, he's picked up on it with this little patrol. Things not looking good. He ain't quite at the 2-to-1 stage. It's more like 3-to-2 at this minute in favour of Blodir. Thing is, so if he can make use of this Billy in an effective way, now the thing is, as soon as Blodir sees it, you know, TMDs is going to go up, but that he can't get TMDs everywhere. Now if he can plant a Billy in here, let's say, he's building a T3, is he going to try and park right next to his ACU? This is the question. I mean, it's all hanging off this. He knows at this point it's lost. It's now this is where the animal is cornered, also at the most dangerous. And you can see here, Blodir sending scouts over like, what is this sucker up to? He may have seen the T3 transport. Well, at this stage in the game, a solitary T3 transport is only going to be for one thing. Now what's he doing? Spamming ASF. Notice he's not using his Billy nuke. He could have fired it into there, but I think he's holding on to it for a surprise. Problem is, if Blodir is able to punch this down, he's going to have nothing left to defend his base. If he's got now to defend his base, he's got nothing to power his Billy. He's only going to get one shot. If he only gets one shot, I mean, another guy at this point is going to be shielding and samming and PDing and doing everything that he can, and there you see it. There's his Billy nuke. It's a perfectly weighted ball, as we would say in football days. Bang! Couldn't have been better if I did it myself. We've got a solitary T2 Solitary pillar half damaged. That was a beaut. Now if he's able to capitalise on that, if he can sling another one in there, let's see what sort of range he's got. It is in range. Go on, get another one out, quick. Fire it. Oh, could this be it? This could be comeback of the century. This was all of Blodir's hitting power. Why isn't he moving him is the question. Ouch. Take a look at the scores now. In terms of mass killed, Blast Shield has just equalised Blodir with 2 billies. I forgot there was another side. Oh, well, you'll remember it now. And look at this, just a handful of units from Blast Shield got free reign. Granted, we do got a little bit of support here from Blodir, but that is going to hurt. Blast Shield looked like it was all over a few minutes ago. Hits him where it hurts. He's got to keep pushing this advantage. He knows Blodir's got, you know, Blodir is the US of A versus Germany in World War II. He's got all the factories and resources. You may have the numbers earlier on in the war, but it's going to increasingly slide the other way. You've got to press, and you've got to press now. Forget Russia. You need to move west and do it now. Got a whole air wing coming over. What we got here? Bunch of T2s, gunships. How many ambassadors we got? We got a small handful. We got another Billy New coming over here. Oh my goodness, the ACU is undefended. This could be the end. Oh, lovely, lovely pick off by the flags. What about the strats though? Get your shield up. He needs a shield. He needs it now. Ambassador's going after the flag. He's got a solitary Sam up. He needs to get that shield up. If that shield is up, oh, his power. That could have been responsible for everything that happens now. Get your energy sorted, get the shield. Let's slow it way down a sec, don't want to miss this. Blodir, what's your E like? Right, he's got E for days. He's getting another shield up. He needs that shield. He needs it now. There's a second ambassador coming. He needs to save that. He's still got a hold of the Sam. There's his second shield. That Sam site. Oh, there's more ambassadors. He needs more air, more shields, more Sams. He needs everything. Anything else anywhere? Well, it's all down here. Oh no, the shield has collapsed. 2,300 hit points. He's completely swarmed. Oh man, I felt he could have pulled that one back. If he'd have had the energy when that first lot of strats came over to have got that shield powered. Well, what if, right, it would have gone on for longer, that's for sure. Look at this, he shut everything down to ensure he had enough power for his shield. 40,000 mass killed. Guys, what a game. That was a really, really good game. I really enjoyed both of those. Blodir managing to pull it back 1-1. Blodir, Blast Shield, those both games today, 9th of October 2022. That's going to be it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Until next time, take care, wherever in the world you may be. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.